Do you have trouble making life-changing decisions? A lot of us do, but pro-con lists really don't work very well, do they? Today I'm going to share with you some philosophical ideas that might help the next time you have to make a really big decision. I'm Anne. I started a 365-day reinvention project in April after I left corporate full-time employment. Now I'm using this chance to figure out what's next. I've also started doing a weekly video to share the philosophical and psychological topics that I'm investigating as I figure out how I can live my best life at midlife. Imagine you're deciding about staying at your current corporate job or leaving to go back to school to improve your future job prospects. One option offers stability and income and the chance to socialize with people you already know. The other offers growth and learning and the chance to meet new people and find new opportunities. How do you decide? Philosopher Ruth Chang has studied the psychology of making hard decisions. Chang says that sometimes the options we're choosing between are on a par. That means one isn't necessarily better than the other, and yet they're not equivalent either. This is the case when you're choosing between two transformational things, like staying at your job or going back to school. We regularly face really big decisions to make, and yet it's not always obvious how we should choose between the two. I recently faced the life-changing decision of whether to leave corporate full-time employment as a data scientist or whether to stay and find a new job once my position was eliminated at the startup where I was working. On the one hand, finding a new job would mean additional income and a chance to work with really smart people and possibly some opportunity to improve my data science skills and my understanding of artificial intelligence. On the other hand, the opportunity of starting my own business allows me to think about creating value directly in the world through my own efforts, not through another person's organization. Also, that might bring me into contact with new people who are also entrepreneurs. Additionally, going out on my own might have some benefits to my income, but down the line, it's much less certain. But on the other hand, it's more exciting. Choosing between these two is not obvious and not a matter of simply making a pro and con list and then weighing the various items and adding it up as though I was using some mathematical algorithm. Chang says, in absence of having obvious reasons right now how you can choose between two options which are on a par, you can create will-based reasons. You can choose based on the person that you want to be. You can choose not just on your current set of values, which don't really distinguish between the two options, but rather the values you want to hold. In her book, Aspiration, The Agency of Becoming, philosopher Agnes Callard wrote extensively about the values we wish we held rather than the values we actually hold. To her, there's a distinction between ambition and aspiration. Ambition is when we're going after something where we already hold the values that attainment will embody. Aspiration, on the other hand, is when we have a sense of some values that we might hold, but we don't really fully hold right now. Callard gives the example of music appreciation. Maybe somebody wants to become someone who has a great love and appreciation and understanding for music, maybe classical music, but they don't really have that value already. So they would need to cultivate those values. They would need to take steps that maybe wouldn't be asked for under their current values, but would embody the values they're going after. Callard defines a new kind of reasoning called proleptic reasoning. Proleptic reasoning means you act for the sake of values that you don't fully hold yet, but that you would like to hold. Proleptive reasoning is a kind of future-oriented reasoning. It's as though you came up with a future version of yourself and then asked them to decide what you should do, rather than acting out of the values of your present self. Now, this is exactly what Chang suggests you should do when you're faced with a hard decision. Don't just decide on the values of your current self. Think of what sort of future values you want to hold. What would your future self say that you should do? Of course, it depends on which future self you want to become. You can imagine in any case of hard choices that there are different future selves that might evolve, depending on what choice you make. When you're facing a hard choice where the two options are on a par, to use Chang's language, consult your future selves, not just one future self, but consider the different future selves that may evolve depending on which choice you make. Throwing your commitment behind one set of values is how you can actually find reasons to do something when your present self doesn't have a good way of deciding. I'd be curious what you think of Chang's and Callard's ideas about hard choices and about proleptic reasoning. Do you consult your possible future selves when making a hard decision? Do you see how this could help you? Or do you think pro and con lists are actually pretty good? Leave a comment if you'd like. I'd love to hear from you. If you're interested in following what I'm studying and exploring, please subscribe and you can ring the bell to be notified as I publish new videos. I'm planning to do one once a week. Thanks for watching and hope to see you again.